Well, welcome back into Weather Nation. We're taking a look at our top weather headlines, a few different camera views here. Portland, Oregon, where we've got moisture streaming into the Pacific Northwest. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma into Texas, we've got severe weather today. And then just gloomy spring weather up in Gaylord, Michigan.
The gloomy weather, but it doesn't seem like the animals seem to mind too much. They're enjoying some of the gloom that's happening there, luckily. Oh, there you go. Great camera shot. They wanted to say hello. We are still dealing with some gloomy conditions and severe weather potential as we look across some of these regions. And as we take you to South Florida, we're dealing with numerous severe thunderstorm warnings.
Yeah, several of these thunderstorms we've seen with high winds, potential for hail, and also a tornado possible tag on several of these warnings as well, Taban.
Yeah, so we want to take you to Viper so we can detail out some of these warnings for you, get you the most up-to-date information, and then take you through that severe look as we head into the next few days. Kit will have that forecast for you in just a moment. As we take you out to Waco, Texas, you are one of those locations where we have that severe potential today.
That's right, Taban. Waco, Dallas, Fort Worth, all the way out to Jackson, Mississippi. Now, most of this is going to start between Oklahoma and Texas, and then overnight, it's going to be pushing through very quickly. So we're taking a look at this now. We've got that enhanced risk. That's the orange color, a level 3 out of a 5 scale system. So certainly something to keep an eye on through the overnight hours, especially because we have the tornado potential more downstream as we get into northern Louisiana, southwestern parts of Mississippi. That's where we have that highest potential for tornado activity. Highest hail risk, though, is where we start. Right here, Wichita Falls, Abilene, down to Brownwood, even into the Fort Worth area. We've got that potential for 2-inch diameter hail or larger, so certainly a significant thing. If you've got a car, maybe bring it into the carport or the garage before you go to bed tonight. But we're looking here, 8 p.m., that's when we start to see those storms really ramp up. We've got all these tracks here of potential hail swaths that basically where those thunderstorms are moving through could be dropping quite large hail, and then it transitions more into a wind tornado threat as we head overnight. Here's a look at that significant wind threat from the DFW metro all the way through Monroe, Louisiana, even into Jackson, and this starts to fade into Tuesday, our next severe weather event that we're looking at. So here we are on the forecast, looking at the simulated radar. This is what we see around the 10 o'clock p.m. time, moving through the DFW, Waco area. Then it starts to move past midnight into the Little Rock to Shreveport, Jackson area. In the early hours of Tuesday, that's where we start to see it moving into Mississippi and Alabama. So this is a couple-day event here that we've got. That's going to eventually move all the way out to Georgia. But looking here for the impacts around North Texas, we've got the wind and hail threat as the primary threat factors, tornado and flood. We haven't talked much about flood, but that is also a factor with all this heavy rain coming down, all that precipitation could lead to some flash flooding with this as well. Looking at another area here, just south of Dallas, down to the Waco College Station, Austin area, the wind, hail, and tornado threat all possible with this system. We see that coming through the I-35 corridor around 10 o'clock tonight, pushing out as we get into Tuesday, clearing things up as we go through the day on Tuesday. A little farther south into the San Antonio to Houston area, I-10 corridor, not going to be as focused south of there, but we will still see some heavy rain coming through as we head into the early parts of Monday. And then, of course, the I-20 corridor in northern Louisiana, that's where we've got the potential. This is 1 a.m., so make sure you have multiple ways to get those alerts, especially for these overnight events. You could be seeing lots of trees down with that high wind threat. And then there's also the hail and tornado threat as well. Keep it tuned here. We've got your East Regional forecast coming up next. That's right, Taban. So Dallas, your threat is today into tonight. We were talking about that a little while ago, but then that's going to continue overnight through Louisiana. And then tomorrow, we're looking at the potential for it here in southern Mississippi, all the way out to the coast through the southern Carolinas there. So this is a multi-day event. Then we'll see another threat across the southeast the days after that. But the tornado potential is a very wide area, all the way from Hattiesburg to Montgomery, Macon, Savannah, many of these areas here within that 10% risk. So that is a significant risk there. We are going to have to keep an eye out for potential of EF2 or stronger tornadoes with this. So we're talking about places like Dothan, out to Cordell, Vidalia, also into the Savannah area. These are all places where we could see those stronger tornadoes. Also, high winds are a potential with this. We could see upwards of 60-mile-per-hour winds that can cause widespread damage. Like I said, that system comes through the overnight hours, making it to the deep south by 8 o'clock. Here we are right now, moving into Alabama. We're going to have some precursor heavy rain with that as well. Then we see those darker colors. That's the really deep convection. That's where we're going to be seeing the potential for hail. That's where we could see those downdrafts really bringing in hefty winds with that. And then we've got this line of storms that are out ahead of that main line. That could be where we see a lot of that rotation and the tornado threat. So multiple threats with this system. Along with all of that, we see how it's all of this rain just staying over many of the same areas for many hours. We also have a flooding threat with that as well. So eventually that cold front will push through and will clear things out later on this week. The wind threat is the main threat for parts of northern Mississippi here. So Jackson up to Tupelo as well. We have that wind threat. Then it pushes off towards the east and it does clear out by Tuesday, though we might be seeing more storms later on with another cold front. Southern Mississippi now, we could be seeing some very heavy rain showers with that. Into Birmingham, we've got the wind and flood threats as your main threats here, especially across northern Alabama with that as well. But of course, that's not the only day that we have this. This does continue into Wednesday and Thursday. And Taban, we're looking out at Kill Devil Hills now. The coastal Carolina area could be seeing that severe.
Yeah, we're going to be tracking that severe weather threat as we head into this multiple day outlook. So all that energy, all that instability is going to be building across some of these regions as we head into the middle of the week, and that's going to lead to that threat as we head in across areas farther to the east.
Right, so northern Alabama into Atlanta, even the southern Appalachians, all these areas also with that threat for that severe weather.
And you can see the timing of this here as we bring that frontal boundary in, those showers and storms sparking just ahead of it as we look across portions of Georgia, moving into the Carolinas. We'll be dealing with that threat of strong to severe storms to take place.
And we'll be continuing to monitor all of this system as it moves through the East Coast. And then, of course, we've got that all the way from the Delmarva down through the Myrtle Beach area. We'll have your central regional forecast, though, coming up next. That's right, Taban. We've got the outlook for a marginal risk for most of the northern half of Arkansas. The southern half of Arkansas is that slight risk for flash flooding. Then as we go into Tuesday, we have another widespread slight risk from New Orleans up to Charlotte, North Carolina. And let's take a look at the forecast through this. As this pushes through, a lot of places are going to see the same showers or more showers behind them, continuing to bring down a lot of rain, especially here across the southern part of the deep south. We've got that train of thunderstorms coming through. And for more on flash flood safety, here's John Van Pelt.